I'm David Kirkpatrick, and I've just written a book called The Facebook Effect, the inside story of the company that is connecting the world. And it's just come out in the United States in June of 2010. It's coming out in Germany in January.
So we are here at the Aspen Ideas Festival. What is your big idea you brought here?
Well, my big idea is that Facebook is an extremely important force that's changing many aspects of modern life, which is why I named my book The Facebook Effect. My book is a history of the company, which I tell partly in order so that you can understand how Facebook emerged in the way that it has and what kind of a company it became. As I said also in my talk, I think Facebook is a platform for the empowerment of its members, and that's an extremely critical force that's not as well understood as it ought to be, because most people still think of Facebook as kind of just a way to fool around with your friends, which it is, but it has other qualities as well.
Would you consider yourself a Facebook addict?
No, I'm not a Facebook addict, not at all. I use it, I go on there once or twice a day. I like it, but I'm not an addict at all.
So when you talk about...
I could probably live without it, to be honest.
Okay. So when you talk about the changes or how Facebook is changing our lives, what kind of impacts do you see?
I think Facebook has extreme impacts in a variety of arenas, in politics, in government, in marketing, in how we think of our own identity, in the nature of social life. And I think each one of those can be explored in some detail. I'm especially interested in the political implications of giving everyone this platform for empowerment, which they initially use simply in order to communicate with their friends, but which then they have at their disposal at any moment when they start feeling concern about a bigger political question. They don't join it in order to make a political statement, but they have it available to them when they want to, because they joined it in order to communicate with their friends. I find that very interesting, and that dynamic has played out in a number of very interesting ways.
What makes an idea really big on Facebook? Like, there are millions probably of groups founded each and every day. But what is the tick, if a thing becomes really big?
That's a good question. I think there's so many ways that can happen, but sort of in general, it's all dependent on the receptivity of the group to the idea. So if one individual expresses an idea on any subject, whether it's about going to a party or changing the government of their country, that happens to resonate with other people, Facebook is a system that allows that kind of message to spread more rapidly than almost any other system that preceded it.
Like in the short introduction we had before the interview, what is your idea of, or your understanding of has it changed since the rise of the internet?
Well, I think the internet more broadly is changing the nature of how we think of ourselves as a human community. And I think Facebook is playing a major role in that. It is making the world a smaller place. I think Facebook, I think email, I think Twitter, I think many systems that are coming into popular usage are making it trivially easy to connect with anybody in your own community or on the planet. And the more it gets easier to communicate across the planet, the more our own collective identity becomes unified. And I think that the world is slowly, not rapidly enough for my taste, but slowly moving to have more of a sense of common identity and community. And I think systems like Facebook are an important factor in that.
Do you feel by yourself, if you put something into this system, internet, do you feel some kind of responsibility? Do you really think about what you write down, what you tweet?
Do I, or does the ordinary person?
You. And
I take a lot of responsibility for what I write. I think a lot of people put things into internet services without giving them enough thought and often regret later what they've done. I try to spend some time thinking about it, but even it's like anybody, I send emails I regret having sent, and I put comments on blogs I regret having put there. but I do try to think about it, because the reality is once you put anything in digital form, it could be seen by everyone. It could go on the front page of the newspaper. So, you know, that's a real fact.
Do you see anything or something like collective intelligence arising from the Facebook?
Yes. In fact, at
And
the end
how
of my
does
book,
it-
I talk about that specifically, that Facebook has already begun experimenting with this, and Twitter does too. There's actually a number of systems. There's a service called SkyGrid I've just been learning about that basically track what are, in effect, the memes of the moment on the planet or in a certain community. And Facebook has, among other things, created something they call a National Happiness Index for the United States, where they chart certain terms and ideas over time, and they can say, on this day, people in the U.S. seem to have been more happy than on this day. And the most unhappy they were in the early days of that experiment was the day Michael Jackson died, interestingly.
Right.
So I think these systems have an enormous pool of data that can be analyzed and generate tremendous collective insight, yes.
Yeah. So my very last question would be, do you think there is a huge need to regulate these systems? Is there a need to control?
I think there is an urge to regulate these systems. I don't think there is a need to do so, but I think there is an almost inevitability that it will occur, because I think governments in general can't leave their grubby paws off things that get big. They want to tax them, they want to regulate them, they want to protect their citizens, and you know, I think in a way that will slow the pace of internet innovation, but it's likely to happen. Yes.
Yeah. One more thing.
Okay.
Really, during your talk, you really were promoting, let's put it this way, that Mark Zuckerberg is a good guy. Mm-hmm. Why is this so important for you? Why is this?
Well, it's
I mean,
not
it's
important
like,
in itself, except that there's a movie that's about to come out and be introduced globally, with very, very major backing that makes the opposite point. And it's a movie based not on facts, but on conjecture and fantasy. And I think it's important to make the point that the guy's not a jerk when a movie that's being distributed worldwide with much more power than I could ever have to make a point is going to be saying that he's a jerk and a liar and a cheat. And I don't think that's really true.
What is their mission?
Their mission is to make the world more open and connected. That's the way they talk about it. So.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.